manual valve. And our pin and our little detent. On our check balls here, first off, there's a filter that is normally in here. Goes in right there. I always throw mine away. I don't never use them. So the bolts that go in here, all of them are 1 3/16 inch. So once we get to putting the valve body on, I'm not going to remeasure these. You got dowel pins that go on the bottom, 2 in each section on top. This one actually is going to have really long ones. Most of them are like this. We got check balls that go in here. One that goes there. These are 213, 218. 218 check balls. So one goes there. There, 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 and then we got a check valve that goes right here. This tip goes down. Prior to that, I think this came out in like 2001, somewhere in there. Prior to that, there was another check ball right here. This is what goes in here. Later units, you don't have to worry about it near as much, but I do change the adjustment. And this one was wrong. It was set at 210. I've never seen one set at 210. It should be somewhere around 260. There's no ring on here. Before you take this valve out, you need to measure how deep it is in the pocket. Like I said, usually they're around 260, 265. I usually screw it in just a little bit deeper. I usually go about 285, somewhere around in there. That's too deep. That's 310. .262. We're going to go just a tad bit deeper, probably a quarter turn. Yeah. 272. I'm going to go just a tad bit more. $279. We're going to leave it right there. And then there's this plug that goes on top. Keep that from moving. And it's a 10 millimeter. Alright, some of these have these little filters in the, or screens in the back. If that disappears, don't worry about it. Doesn't matter too much. That one goes there. This one goes there. The shorter one of these two goes back here. The longer one goes right there. We got the 2 dowel pins that go all the way through here to connect this, and it creates the dowel pin for the bottom and the top. We got 3 bolts here. Let's see, these dowel pins are 1.5 inches. All 3 of these bolts are 2.389, and this bolt is going to go here, and this bracket is going to sit right there. It's going to hold this pin in for the stator. These other 2 bolts go right there. Alright, accumulator body. We got 2 O-rings on all of these except for these two. I only got single. We got the spring goes in here. We got these little wire clips that hold this in. I guess it helps if I put it in the right spot. There we go. The inner and outer spring here. Another wire clip. Alright. Inner and outer spring. This one actually has or kind of an E-clip. We want the short end of the taper up towards us. You'll need a pair of snap ring pliers. Okay. Now this one here, there's no need to take this one out. There is a spring under here. If this spring is broke, then you would want to take it out. I've never seen one broke, but there's a little clip in here that holds us in place. Other than that, there's no need to take this thing out of there. Try to keep the opening away from an opening. And we do want to make sure it is all the way seated in there. Alright, I've got inner and outer spring here. This one just pops in there, as does the reverse servo. Alright, then we got this one on top. A little hat goes with the tip down. And the short end of the taper up again. Now, this little tube is eluding me at the moment, so we'll have to measure it later. It's not uncommon for this to stick in the back of the case, although it's not there. And it's easy to forget to put that thing in there. And of course it's not going to work properly. These bolts are all different. We'll have to figure out what they are when we go assembling it back together. And we'll do the pressure regulator body next, and then we'll be putting it on the case. Alright, this section. You got this spring, this valve, sleeve goes on top, a little step goes in, this side goes out, and a roll pin goes through the center. Get staked in place again if you so desire. This PR valve, some of these kits like the which one is it? Is it the Sonax? Transgo. Yeah, Transgo has you drill one of these passages and connect it. Sonax sells a valve that has a bleed hole through it, like that hole right there. It'll be in this section of the valve. If this has been drilled, you cannot put one of those valves in. If you have one of these valves, you can't drill that. You can't have both. You can only have one. So make sure that you only got one. This spring, and this spring. Then our little bolt with the little tip on it, it's going to go in that right there. It's going to line up right there. Make sure that the bolt goes all the way flush before you go to try to tighten it down with either a wrench or an impact, either one. Alright, this bolt happens to be 2" 5/76, and it goes right there. Now some of these check valves, they go in just like this. Some of them have this gold spring, some have this black spring in both, some are one and the other, and they'll go just like that. Alright, one more section to go. I'm going to start sticking this in the case. Alright, if we were rebuilding this, there's a seal for the filter that needs to go in here. You make sure your little oil dam and bearing is down all the way. We're going to make sure that our bearing for the converter is back all the way up this way. We're going to stake it in place. We would put our front seal in, make sure the lines are going the same way, put our lever seal in and our axle seal in. Then we have two dowel pins that go here and here. Our separator plate would go down. Our gear would go with the lip down. The lines would go down. And our pivot pin. We're going to put our linkage on. This is going to fit in there. The spring is going to go hook around here. I'm going to set this all down at one time. This is the way I do it. You can do it however you want. And since I don't care about how this is tightened down, I'm just going to tighten it down. Every bit of this is 10 millimeters. We have our stator. It's got an O-ring on it. Pivot pin's going to go down. Put that in. Our two dowel pins that are longer go over here. This separator plate goes down. This piece of the valve body. This separator plate goes down. Alright. Our accumulator body. set in there, and then we'll measure our bolts. Alright, we're going to start in the front here. We'll go clockwise. 1 inch 982, 5 inch 731, 4 inch 924, 3 inch 562, 5 inch 327, 3 inch 558, 3 inch 559, 3 inch 561. And we got this piece goes on. Got 2 dowel pins that go on here. Separator plate, our body, and let's see. All right, missing a couple bolts. Let's see, this one goes over here. This one goes up here. Still missing. Alright, and we measure these. We'll go in a clockwise fashion again. The little short one, 687. 3 inch 555. Same. This should be the same. And 2 inch 975. 4 inch 145. Same. And the same. Alright, our filter bolt is 5 3/4, and it's going to go right there. Not going to put the filter on. I'm not worried about it. And then we can go ahead and we can set our diff down inside of here. Alright, I'm going to set this off to the side. And we'll go on to our drums. I think I'm going to have to change batteries. Alright, we got this drum here that goes up in the middle case. There's 2 O-rings on it. If we were rebuilding it, I would be putting those on. Then we have the return spring, our retainer, and our snap ring short end of the taper up. Since we're not doing that, I don't care. We got the cushion plate, the dish goes up, and we would alternate our stills and clutches. We have our shaft, has the 2 O-rings on it. Actually, I'll just leave them on there. This gear that's going to go on the outer side. We got our nut. There is a dish to it. You want the dish down towards the gear. This is our nut, 7/8 12 point. This little cap's going to go in the back and hold that in. We have our washer, a flat bearing, a caged bearing, and a flat bearing and a sleeve on top. This actually goes this way. Alright, we're all the way down. And let's see how much of this we can get on the camera. Up inside the case here is where this drum's going to go, and it's going to sit just like so. Our shaft is going to go on there. Back side, here's our gear. The tall step's going to face in. Like I said, the dish down, and then we would tighten this down. I'm just going to put it finger tight. It doesn't really matter since we're not building it. Otherwise I would go ahead and tighten it and stake it down. And then this little cap needs to be driven in there, but you don't want to go too far. You just want it up in there but not hitting the shaft. And it went a tad bit too far. We could tap that back out. Alright, that should be fine. As long as it's not rubbing. And like I said, we would go ahead and tighten this down normally and stake it. So that's ready to put in the case now. Make sure all that is good. Alright, we set this off to the side. And I'll go get our next drum. Alright, our counter shaft. 2 O-rings on here again. Lube this up nice and good. We would have our return spring, retainer, short end of the taper up. We have the dish. Dish up. No, dish down. Sorry, the dish goes down. Thought I had it right the first time. So the dish going down. And steel, clutch, alternation, and our snap ring on top. We have 2 O-rings here. Our drum goes down. We have this washer, splines on, a sleeve, and a cage bearing, and a flat bearing, and our gear, and a flat bearing that sits around that cage bearing, and our gear goes this way, and this spacer goes on top. Alright, get the next one. Alright, this drum here. We have 2 O-rings again. Return spring, retainer, snap ring, a cushion up, and our steel and clutches. And on this side we have 2 O-rings again. There we have our return spring, our retainer, and our snap ring. The dish would go up. Alright, on our input shaft, there's 4 sealing rings here. They are scarf cut. They go together just like that. We have our O-rings out here. We have our washer. If this is eat up on this side, if it's not totally destroyed, you can flip it over or reuse the other side. Sometimes it's hard to get that washer. So we had the flat washer, or flat bearing, cage bearing, and then the needle bearing is going to go on this side. Make sure it's in that groove. It's in there. And my little wire I didn't get. Let me go get it. Alright, we got the sleeve, 2 cage bearings here, flat bearing, our gear, flat bearing, and our washer with the here's a dished side. That dish goes in, so this snap ring can go on there. You do not have to put this on there. It's only for assembly, and it just keeps everything from coming apart. 2 O-rings up here for our other drum. All right. Put your two drums together like so. Drop them in at the same time. We have our cage bearing. This gear is going to go on. This is going to go with this up. And you're going to have to drive that on there. Usually what I do is I go ahead and I put this on there, take it over to the arbor press and press this on there. I actually forgot, so I'll go do that. Alright, put your fork in. You want this side up. And then we're going to flip it over. Oh, we're going to line up our servo with the shaft. Actually, I'm sorry. That's normally this way. We want it this way. And we got a bolt. It looks like that. There's a little retainer. This little tab. Going to sit on top. And we bend one of those little tabs over. We put our gear on top. Cage bearing and sleeve. Alright. You got 3 dowel pins that go in the case. You pick the gasket that fits. There's 2 different ones according to the way the passage is over here. Make sure that you put the right one on the right one. We want our manual linkage in low. And then we can set the case on here. What's going on here? Why are you acting ugly? Did I put those tubes in the wrong spot?